Morena, we will make a start.
Good
And
morning.
we'll start with the Karakia. If you don't mind standing, please, that would be much appreciated. Tutawa mai I runga, tutawa mai I raro, tutawa mai I roto, tutawa mai I waho. Kia tau ai te maritu. Te mari ora ki te katoa. Haumie uie taikie. I'm going to do the English translation, if that's okay. Come forth from above, come forth from below, come forth from within, come forth from the environment, vitality and well-being for all strengthened in unity. Ngā mihi nui. Thank you. So welcome again, everybody. We've got online, I think, one councillor, Councillor Gottlieb. Can you just confirm, Councillor Gottlieb, that you can hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We'll call for apologies first. Do we have any apologies? There being none, we need to address the withdrawal of the item 1.9, which was the proposed notice of motion from Councillor Sinclair, seconded by Councillor Connell, which was the notice of motion labelled TCDC Stand with Palestine. I have had extensive discussions with councillors. There's been some concerns raised on a number of levels about the business of council. That was one consideration. And the other consideration, there was a strong feeling amongst councillors that this had been addressed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, who have issued a statement calling for the urgent ceasefire in Gaza and warning of the risk of expanded conflict between Hezbollah and Israel. I need to say that there is not a single councillor around this table who doesn't have concerns about a humanitarian situation in which people are suffering and dying. The decision to ask for withdrawal of this was mine. And it was done in the best interests of the operation of this council, but I do reflect the concerns of the community and I acknowledge those. Tough call to make, but I've made it, and I hope you understand. So we are going to receive the petition from the basket, which we'll do after public forum. So our first item of business will be public forum, and I think we've got Ryan first from Whangamata Community Marae. Ryan, welcome. Thank you. Ryan, thank you. You have 5 minutes and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Morena koutou, Mia Lynn, councillors and council staff, thank you for the opportunity to speak at the public forum today. I'm speaking on behalf of the Whangamata Community Marae and Wellbeing Hub, just to give you a very brief update on our sort of progress to date, and to be available to answer any questions from the councillors. So first of all, I want to thank the council staff who have engaged with us over the negotiation of the subdivision and land allocation. That process went really, really smoothly, and both parties were really respectful and understanding of each other's needs. So I'm really pleased to say that that went as quickly as it possibly could, and we're really happy with the proposed outcome of that, which is before you today. The proposed land allocation is just above the minimum we needed in our business case, so it allows us enough space to do everything that we have proposed. So really pleased to see that on the agenda today and see things moving forward. A couple of other updates on the funding front. To date, we've secured $35,000 towards our site planning and design, which is a really small amount compared to what we need, but is a really positive start. And we've got two much bigger applications that are due in September with Trust Waikato and the Lotteries Community Facilities Fund. What's been really good for us in our conversations with Lottery Community Facilities, they've actually allowed us to put an application in prior to having the lease, which means that we can hopefully secure some funds and some decent funds so that when the lease happens, we're ready to go and we're not waiting another 6 months to secure funding. So we're working really hard, meeting with a lot of different funders, putting our case forward and socialising with them. And that landscape's looking really positive, and we'll sort of await the outcome of those 2 September applications, but we're hoping that by the end of the year we'll have some good funds secured to get that process happening as soon as the lease is ready to go. Also, I know councillors were really interested in our iwi engagement. So we had a really positive meeting with Ngāti Maru and Ngāti Pū, along with Mia Len earlier in the year. And that was a really excellent meeting. One of the great things was being able to be in the room with a lot of wisdom and experience and people that have worked in that space and on similar projects. And we got some really good advice around our governance and also around our funding. And really supportive and encouraging meeting. And Ngāti Pū or Te Rūranga o Ngāti Pū have elected a representative to sit on our trust. So we now have a formal representative of Ngāti Pū who is on the Marae Trust. So yeah, they're the main updates that I have for you. Again, we're just really happy with the process. I know these things don't happen quickly and we understand that, but I think things are moving as quickly as they can. And so we look forward to hopefully the next steps in this process. So thank you.
Councillor Connell, please.
Well done, Ryan, and all the people behind you and around you. How confident are you about those 2 larger sums coming through? And are you taking a staged approach so that as you get one tranche of money, you can then have a stronger application for the next step?
Nothing's guaranteed in the funding space, but what we have found through the conversations with Lotteries Community Facilities is that they've said that we tick every single box of their criteria, and they have been impressed with the work we've done to date. So like I say, there's no guarantees, but we do have a strong case. There hasn't been a definite decision made yet whether with the capital funding, whether that'll be a stage approach, but it seems most likely. In conversations we've had with them, they said their funding's pretty tight at the moment. So they've recommended a staged approach. But until we have concept plans and things, we won't make any firm decisions about that.
That's awesome, because that was my next question. I suppose you need that pot to get the designs and things done initially, and then once you've got your plans in place, you can then apply for specific items.
Yes, yeah, correct. So what we're doing at the moment is applying for funds for the design, and once we get to the stage of concept plans, then we can apply for capital funding.
Thank you, Councillor Connell. Councillor Revel, please.
Thanks, Ryan, and congratulations on getting to this point, and thank you for that update. I do appreciate the fact that you took the steps to engage with Ngāti Maru, and your feedback from that is very positive. Did Ngāti Maru raise anything that caused you any concern?
Their main question was that they asked right from the outset of the meeting was why a community marae, why not an iwi marae, and in that light, why not a Ngāti Pū marae? And so that was, I think, their main concern or question, I guess, is what process we'd gone to get to this point, and why was it community rather than iwi. But I think we were able to kind of allay those concerns and talk about the origins of the committee and how from the outset with the kaumātua that started it was always the kaupapa of a community marae. And also Len spoke about how we have an opportunity to do something on council land which will be so positive for the whole community, including iwi, and to go back in the process and lose that opportunity could be really disastrous. So yeah, I think it was just talking through the process and how we'd got to this point allayed those concerns.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Councillor Rebel. Councillor Sinclair, please.
Ryan, are you facing any opposition at all in your community? Are you getting any pushback about this project?
We hear the odd murmurings of pockets of people in the community that are mainly around the marae that are not supportive of building a marae, but it's very small. Yeah.
Councillor Grant, please.
Can I just turn that question round slightly to one of what's the general acceptance within the community? Are you getting good support from the broader community to the plans?
Yeah, absolutely. There was huge celebrations on the day the decision was made, and my wife rang me and she'd been in the supermarket and people were coming up to her in tears, having heard that after 50 years, finally this was happening. So huge amount of excitement in the community and joy and relief that after so many years of trying and struggle that this is finally becoming a reality. Our job is to kind of temper that excitement a little bit and just put in the reality of it. We've got a wee way to go yet, because we're getting questions like, when are you starting building? Are you going to start this year or next year? And we're sort of, oh, hang on. But yeah, huge amount of support, huge amount of excitement. And so, yeah, we've just got to kind of journey with people through that process.
Ryan, I wonder, just on the back of that, can you just give us a quick update on your Matariki events and celebrations? Because I heard that went really well.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, so we had 3 days of celebrations. The first one being on the Matariki public holiday, where we had a hangi in Williamson Park and a community concert. There were over 1,000 people that attended that, and we had a hangi for 600 people, as well as kai moana and vegetable curry, and it's just an amazing opportunity for the community to come together. In winter, everyone's sort of hibernating at home and in their own little pockets, and it was beautiful to see the community all come together and socialise and celebrate and celebrate Matariki together. We also had 2 days of workshops at the community at the Memorial Hall, and huge turnout for those. They were a collaboration between the Arts Collective and the Marae Trust, so we both worked on those together and offered the workshops. And over the 2 days, we had 1,200 people come through the doors for those workshops. So really successful event and just such a positive community event.
Thanks, Ryan. Councillor Gary Percival, please.
Thank you. Morning, Ryan. I just wanted to thank you for coming in. I've really enjoyed your update and so much positive things happening. So good luck and thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Walker, please.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for coming along and giving us an update. I also get the feeling that the negativity in the town's turning far more into a positive reaction, and people are actually coming in asking the questions about how it's working. So are you feeling that positivity coming through?
Yeah, there's definite shift. Yeah, and if I think about when we started talking about this 7 or 8 years ago, there was a lot more opposition, and I agree there has definitely been a shift, and it's a great opportunity to be able to educate people when they come and ask questions, and you talk to them and they actually realise, oh, that doesn't sound too bad. So yeah, definitely have seen that shift too.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, we'll leave it there. Much appreciate and keep the updates coming. I know the council team really enjoy those. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Sure thing. Do we have anybody else who would like to speak in public forum who has not registered? So this is before we get the presentation on the petition, which we'll do separately. Do we have anybody else in public forum that would like to speak? Okay. Yep. Can I get mover and a seconder, please, for public forum? Reka Delhi, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. I'll now call for items not on the agenda. Is there anything not on the agenda that we need to address? There being none, conflicts of interest. Any conflicts of interest to declare from councillors?
Yes, as a trustee of the Karakia Rail Trail, I'd like to declare a conflict of interest for decision report 2.4, remuneration, and 2.6, additional funding. But I would seek to leave to be able to stay in the room during those discussions, please.
Thank you, Councillor Rodley. I'm happy for you to take a seat in the public gallery during those discussions, but not take part in the discussions or decision-making process. Thank you. Okay. We'll move to item 1.6, minutes for receiving and confirmation.
Through the chair, did you wish to do petition first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
That's just ahead of that, isn't it?
And then we would like to do a quick intro.
Or Luke, yeah. I'll use this one, shall I?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a petition, which I would like to invite. Now, who's presenting this? Shaket, are you presenting this? Nancy? Do it together? So please, if you would like to come up. So for councillors, I'm sure you've seen this already. This is item 1.8 on your agenda.
Okay, thank you. Chair.
Okay. Kia ora koutou, na mihi nui ki ngā tangata whenua Aotearoa na te maru me parehora ki katoa. Tēnā koutou Mayor Land councillors, council staff. Tēnā tātou. Just, I guess, a point before we start to correct. Our government did not call for a ceasefire. They stated that it is needed. However, they actually said that they are in full support of the US proposal to the Security Council, which says that a ceasefire would come only on the conditions of the release of the hostages and a few other conditions. So I think that's important to note.
Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification.
We'll be speaking today on behalf of the Basket Karakia and the many Thames-Coromandel residents who are deeply distressed about the violence in Gaza and who support this motion. First, a reminder that to everyone that in 1987, after a sustained effort, 105 councils had declared nuclear-free zones, covering 72% of the population. The moral authority of councils representing international issues did then and can again positively influence our country's position on peace and human rights. Our petition represents the people who live here, calling on our representatives to act on our behalf, using your stronger voice and visibility to give weight to our concerns. We will start with Shaket's firsthand account leading to how this is an ongoing human rights issue and finish with a connection to Council's obligation to promote the social well-being in our communities.
Thank you. As a Jewish Israeli, I grew up in a very patriotic Zionist kibbutz, which was established on the ruins only a few months after displacing a Palestinian village and its people. I spent 5 years in the Israeli army, mostly in the West Bank, protecting illegal Jewish settlements and terrorizing Palestinians, refugees displaced by my own kibbutz not long before. The reason I tell you this is to ensure that when we think of the current violence on Gaza, we don't imagine it is merely a response to October 7. We must remember that it is a long-term, deliberate approach to clear and occupy the territory. And to make clear, this is not against Jews or Israelis in any way. Justice for Palestine is the liberation of Israelis too. Many Israelis are protesting and calling for the end of the violence. They need support of the international community. They need our support to put an end to the atrocities of a criminal government. And this label comes from the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court.
Since October 7th, almost 40,000 Palestinians have been killed. At least 5,000 women, 2,000 elderly, 8,000 children, plus 10,000 more people still missing under the rubble of the bombed-out attacks. 1.9 million people have been displaced internally. The Lancet predicts at least an additional 180,000 casualties caused by Israel's blockades, causing famine, and the collapse of the civil infrastructure, around 10% of the population. And consider this violence has been part of our lives since October. Every day that we allow this genocide to continue, we lose more of our humanity. Moments of calling out and standing up to such atrocities is something New Zealanders are good at and proud of. And it is our moral responsibility to do so again. A single council in a small country may seem insignificant, but it is our collective action that brings change. These are not normal times. Destruction and genocide call us to act outside of the ordinary. When we center and take a clear position on human rights, we affect local realities. We reject anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and racism of all kinds. We stand for human rights and highlight what is accepted and what isn't in our communities. And by doing so, we create safer communities.
And that's especially true for Jewish and Muslim communities, to whom in this situation creates real risk. For the council to act as if nothing is happening is not healthy. We need our leadership to make a stand, because today it's there, but tomorrow it may be here. As minority groups, we need to know that our elected members have our back, that you have our back. Many local bodies in Aotearoa and internationally have taken action. For example, Whanganui, Waiheke, Nelson, Canterbury, and Far North. And so we ask you to call on our government, Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, to call for an immediate, permanent, and unconditional ceasefire, to provide aid, to put pressure on Israel to allow this aid into Gaza, to condemn all acts of violence against civilians, and to release all political prisoners, Israeli and Palestinian, and to ensure a procurement policy in TCDC is in line with UN recommendations. And finally, to recognize the state of Palestine. It is nation states that have rights and agency through international forums such as the UN. Why is it South Africa that took Israel to the International Court of Justice? Because stateless people don't even get the right to have rights. Palestinians deserve a seat at the table. But New Zealand is one of the few countries that still stands in the way of Palestine becoming a full member state of the UN. Our position on this must change if Palestinian human rights matter.
And in closing, it has been humbling to take this petition to the streets, and we had much support, and over 400 people signed the petition. We were heartened when councilors agreed with the importance and relevance of this issue and have tabled the motion. However, we are extremely disappointed to learn that the mayor has now removed the motion from the agenda. We urge you to recognize this and to take the step of amplifying the voice of our diverse communities by voting in favor of the proposed motion today. I'll leave you with the words of Martin Luther King Jr. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people.
Thank you, Shaked. Thank you, Nancy. Councillors, any questions? Councillor Rodley.
What would you say to people who would assert that as a council, we don't have a mandate for this, or this is not our business?
I think we made 2 points around the well, first, it's about creating safer communities here by standing for human rights. And second, we saw in the nuclear-free campaign that council's position coming together with communities can make a difference. But more than that, I think that we have at least 400 people in the district who said this is council business, who said council business is not only fixing potholes and collecting waste. 400 people who said we expect to see leadership from you, and that this leadership matters. And I think that it matters specifically now, if we think about it, because there's been around 6 councils who agreed with their communities and said, this is our business. And there have been 2 mayors who said against their communities, it's not our business. And so people are going to watch, this country is going to watch, and the decision that this council is going to make is going to affect what other councils are going to do. And so this matters here, and it matters for Palestine.
And it is, again, like we said, it is a collective. In other words, I have a small voice, and when I heard about other councils doing this, I got really excited. It was like, oh, the council has a bigger voice than I do. So if I take it to them, and they represent this massive area, not just my little house, it can balloon, and other councils can follow suit. And then we have a voice, we have a big voice against the genocide. What could we lose? What could we lose?
Thank you, Nancy. Councillor Sinclair, please.
I just want to be the first to thank you for bringing this petition to us and for mobilising the voice of the community that wanted to be heard on this issue. And I read every single name. There were a lot of names that people that I know, a lot of names of people that I didn't know. And it was very heartening to know that all of those people are out there asking us to do something. So I want to thank you for doing that. And I'm very happy to move that we receive the petition.
Thank you, Councillor Sinclair. Seconder. Thank you. Thank you. I'll put the motion now. All those in favour of receiving the petition? Councillors? Thank you. Those against? Those abstaining? 2 abstentions. Councillor Gottlieb?
Microphone, my microphone. I'm abstaining.
Okay, thank you. So we have... no, please go ahead.
So I was happy to second Councillor Sinclair's motion and to test it in the democratic process. But it was also a decision of the council and there was some unease around it, and I accept that. But is there some way in which, as an individual, I can support and give, as you've said, as a leader in the community, some voice, and whether that involves writing to the government or walking to Scott Simpson's office with you or whatever, please let me know, because I do support that members of the community have felt very passionate about an issue. And you'll find my phone number and my email on the website. And if I can be of some support to you as an individual councillor, I will.
Thank you, Councillor Con. Okay, so we have a vote on the motion. I think we've logged the votes as they landed.
Yeah, and the abstentions.
And the abstentions. All right. Thank you. So that's the end of that item. Thank you once again. And you have individual support, and I'm not sure what else I can say. We've already talked about this in some detail. We feel for you and what you're trying to achieve.
So that the motion and democratic process can't be followed.
Yep.
What's the unease?
So
Abstaining. What's the issue? We'd like to hear it.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do. I would like to ask the councillors what abstain, why? Because
you,
I don't
Catherine.
understand what's to abstain against trying to end death. I don't understand that abstaining.
So I'm not. Yes, we know. So that question, Catherine, is out of order. I'm not going to allow it, and I'm going to end the discussion there. It is not the business that we are going to deal with today at council. We thank you for the petition, and we'll leave it there. I'm sorry about that, but we will leave it there. Thank you.
Yeah, there's 3 abstentions, but you had to scroll across the screen to see it. That's okay. So we're going to introduce
Yep.
Luke now.
Yep. Just wait a second until we've got the room.
Introduction.
Sorry, my mind went to who was Mr. T, but yeah. Good morning, everyone. Just through the chair, I just want to take the time to introduce Luke Archbold. So Luke replaces Lorenzo, who was acting in the role that was held by Andrew Bolton. So we are very excited to have Luke. You will have met, a number of you will have met him already at a community board meeting. He's been making the effort to get out in person and build connections. But you're very excited. He's got a wealth of experience delivering complex projects, including previously at DOC. He built up their national program delivery team, and then more recently was at Hamilton City Council delivering their parks project. So he's really used to that community facility space as well as the wider discipline of project delivery. But so Luke, do you want to add anything else? Or Glenn, thank you. Did you want to add something? You're all good? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I guess thank you for the opportunity to work for Council at Thames. I'm really excited to be here, already getting my head into the exciting projects that are landing in the new LTP, and looking forward to working with you all.
Welcome, Luke. Councillor Connell, please.
It was lovely to meet you at the Mercury Bay Community Board meeting the other day, and just awesome to have senior staff come and visit us out in the sticks in the wards. Really appreciated that.
Thank you. Did anyone else have any questions of Luke, and apart from just a big warm welcome from us? All right, thank you. And we look forward to seeing more of you as we go forward and get stuck into these projects.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. Hey. Oh, it is, yeah. Let's do that system where we open the windows and doors and things.
Good idea, mate.
Okay, team, we'll go to minutes for confirmation, which is, we'll start with the internal minutes, item 1.6. And we've got community board minutes. Could I get, please, movers and seconders for, we'll take item 1, receive the minutes. Could I get a mover and seconder for that, please? Reka and John Grant, all those in favour? Then we'll go to item 2, Tairua Pawa Nui. Could I get a mover, Terry? Thank you. Seconder, please.
When you say Tairua Pawa Nui, are you resolution 2 as it stands includes all 5 community boards?
No, I'm going to take them separately because I would like nominations from the individual community board members.
So does that require the resolution to be rewritten?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. So it is. So we'll take them as a block. Terry, you happy to? Yeah. All right. Okay. Seconder, please.
I'll second.
Gary.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any discussion on the minutes? Any corrections need to be addressed? Anything needs to be fixed? Councillor Morris.
Just a question, if I can. I'm not all over it, but the Whangamata Community Board recommendation where it asks that we number 3A it is that we reconsider the policy on reserved land rentals.
Can we
not there?
Can we just do item 2 first?
Right. Okay. I'll hold fire.
Any corrections, clarifications on item 2? Okay. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 3. Could we get a mover, please, and a seconder for item 3, and then we'll come to Councillor Connell. Seconder, please. Councillor Grant. Okay, Councillor Morrissey. Have you got a page number that you would like to refer us to?
It's page 4, and it's not a biggie, but I'm just interested in the background. We are being asked to reconsider the policy on reserved land rental fees, which I'm just interested in knowing. Are we varying? Is it a variation from our normal policy? What's happening there? Why are we being asked that?
I can speak maybe to that. I was at the meeting. It was around the leases for land at $350, and it was raised there around the discussion about the cost of the $350 across all the different activities that are on council land. So it was raised at that particular time. Yeah.
So it was raised. What's the variation, Terry?
Well, I want to discuss if there is situations where some clubs have more money than others. Do they need to pay more or not? That was the discussion.
Right, and this is an old chestnut.
Sorry, can I just take a step back here? This is community board minutes for confirmation. We're stepping into inappropriate territory if we're going to have a discussion around the detail of that. Standing orders 28.3, no discussion shall arise on the substance of the minutes in any succeeding meeting except as to their correctness. Now, there's a good point raised here, but I just think it needs to be pulled out and separately from the confirmation of the minutes for confirmation.
And I accept your position, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I just am concerned that if we approve these, are we approving that decision, or is because I have to vote against it without the knowledge?
The minutes.
Through the chair, as you will see in the recommendation, we note that was something they wish to consider. We only note that. We're not taking on board that particular recommendation.
Thank you, Ari. So yes, it's noted, but what I think it has flagged, and you've raised it quite rightly, is that council needs more information and potentially a further discussion on this, but not today.
I'll await that discussion.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder. All those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Carried. All right. External minutes for confirmation, or do we have?
Through the chair, we still have a few more recommendations
Right.
that we need to cover off in the minutes for confirmation. So we need to go to
What page?
recommendation 4, which is the Thames Community Board minutes. And I would just like to point out that I sent an email just in regards to a additional recommendation for the Thames Urban General Purpose Reserve. That needs to be approved by council.
Okay, sorry, I missed that because that's part of that and that's not highlighted. That's all right. I understand now.
I think we have a few questions.
That's all right. Okay, so in item 3, where we've just approved that also includes A, B, C, D. Now we're on to item 4, Thames Community Board recommendation, with apologies for glitching that. Could I get a mover and a seconder, please, for item 4? Councillor Revel, seconder. Councillor Rodley. Any discussion, please?
This is the Thames Urban General Purpose request. This is the one we're talking about. Yeah. So again, I'm concerned that, well, I'm not concerned. I think you're lucky to have this Thames Urban General Purpose Reserve. And I'd certainly see that you're spending it, and that's just fine. I just feel that we need some more discussion around how one community board can have so much wealth that they can use at their own discretion.
Sorry, Councillor Walker, we've got item 4, bottom of page 5.
We're just talking to that one, aren't we?
Thames Community Board recommendation for approving a right of renewal for the Seagull Centre Trust.
Yeah.
How did we get on to the
There's an email.
There's an email that was attached that our RE sent out.
And it's on the screen now.
And can I just ask a point of clarification as to the additional paper that has come in? How does that sit within the minutes of the meeting that we're now being asked to confirm? Were the minutes not a correct record of what was discussed, or?
Through the chair, it was picked up that the minutes should have recommended to council, and therefore that was amended. That will be confirmed at the next Thames Community Board meeting.
So these minutes that we're now being asked to confirm were actually not a correct record, is it?
They have not gone through the process yet. So we are only receiving the Thames Community Board minutes, but there are recommendations that come to council. And this is a recommendation to council. It was brought to our attention from Board Chair Catherine.
Okay. So item B, and I'm sorry, I for some reason I haven't seen this, and I don't know how that happened, but I haven't seen this until now. And
Email
it's
came
not-
through last night.
Yeah, and I missed it. Right. Okay. Councillor Morrissey.
I got the email. I'm familiar with what's being discussed. I'd just like to say, and I'm really happy to move it, that term Thames Urban General Purpose Reserve Fund, it's really, Thames is in a unique position, but it is not council money. It cannot be shared around the other wards or whatever. It's entirely for that ward. And they can use it as they see fit. It's not our money.
So what we have is an item that's gone through community board with a recommendation. It's been moved and seconded by Councillor Revel, Councillor Rodley. It is a community board motion. We now need to endorse that, and I'd be uncomfortable if this council got into too much detailed discussion about the fund at this point, along the lines of the discussion we've already had. If councillors want to ask questions around that, I think we can take that separately, and I'll ask the Chief Executive to note that councillors want a further discussion, but not today, if we can do that. Councillor Percival.
Just for me to understand, so we've got option 1, 3 and 4. I'm assuming an option 2 didn't make it past a vote to be included. That's not a typo. Okay, all right, thank you. Just making sure.
Thank you. Councillor Walker, please.
Yep.
You're on.
So I'm just looking at this numbers here, $50,000 to fit out the Thames Information Centre. Is that over and above the 54,000 that they got from the annual grant?
And again, it's inappropriate to be going into that detail at this stage, because this is a minute that's gone, or a resolution that's gone through community board.
We're allowed to ask the questions around financial.
You can do that. I just don't want to get into a detailed discussion around the fund itself. So
Well, I asked a question. Is this outside the $54,000 that is granted as part of the?
If I may, Your Worship.
Councillor Rodley.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Okay. So we've got a resolution in front of us. Noted that there's further discussion needed at a later stage, but we'll put the resolution now. Okay. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against?
I'll abstain out of this one.
You're going to abstain?
Yep.
Okay. Can you turn your microphone off, please, Councillor Walker? All right. We got a note of those? Thank you. All right. And I apologise if that caught me a little bit off guard. For some reason, I hadn't seen that email. Okay. Are we up to item 5 on page 6? Thank you. Mercury Bay Community Board recommendation. Second. All right. Discussion? Questions? All those in favour? Thank you. Item 8.
That'd be 6.
Sorry, item 6. Okay, TCDC minutes for the 27th of June. I attended online, but I wasn't here. So I listened, but didn't participate. So can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Walker, seconder, please. Nobody wants a second. Big LTP meeting. Thank you, Councillor Morrissey. All those in favour? Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to external meeting minutes, which is page 95. No, 62, sorry. Why has it got 95 on here? 62. Fix that. Okay, Regional Transport Committee. We'll take these. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please, to receive the external minutes?
I'll move that.
Seconder, Councillor Connell, those in favour? Okay, and then we've got Regional Transport Committee and Waikato Civil Defence. I'm just going to ask if there's any additional comments or notes from Councillor Morrissey and from Councillor Grant as our delegated representatives on those. Councillor Morrissey, anything to add?
No, pretty much what's in there.
And nothing from me.
Okay, thank you. Mover and a seconder, please, for item 2. Councillor Morrissey, you happy to move? Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Grant. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you so much. Appreciate your patience on that.
Just around the external committee minutes for receiving. So our council has a number of COs and CCOs. And I know other councils will include minutes of those in external minutes. Would we consider that an appropriate thing? I'm thinking Creative Coromandel, Karakia Rail Trail, and someone help me out for the destination Karakia Coromandel. I realise this might add to the weight of the agenda, but it seems to me that would be a good way for us to keep in touch with,
keep up to date with what's
COs
going on. I think it's a relevant point. It's a good point, and it should be fairly straightforward. If these organisations are producing minutes, sending them through to us, we've got skin in the game, and we've got representatives on these organisations. It's a good way to keep up to date and include those minutes. So anybody see any issues with that?
No issues, but it's another category of minutes. So the 2 that were there that we've just heard, and they legally are joint committees of council, joint with other agencies. The meetings that Councillor Rodley is referring to is where a councillor may or may not be appointed to that board, and we are a funder, if you like. So it's a different category of meetings. Once you start down that track, you kind of have to draw a line, because we fund quite a lot of agencies. So there could be a very long list of them coming through. So probably we just need a bit of clarification about specifically which ones you might want. And I agree that the top 3, for example, are probably entirely appropriate to bring through this. But somewhere down that list, you start going, actually, no, we'll draw the line here, because that's going to be too much paper and too much detail.
Fair point. So the top 3 would be Karakia Rail Trail, Creative Coromandel, Destination Karakia Coromandel. So could we then note that request and just park that for a further discussion and get some guidance? We don't want to overload things, and we don't want to get tangled up with too much admin, but I think it's, so what I think Councillor Rodley, and we talked about this very briefly yesterday, identified that there's this activity going on and councillors don't have any formal way of being kept up to date with what's going on. So I think that's very relevant. Sorry.
That's
Yep.
fine.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Keep that on board.
Thank you, Councillor Rodley. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go to item 2.1, 101 Lindsay Road. And I've got page 104. Let's see if we've got that right. Eileen, welcome, welcome. We don't see you as often as we'd like to. She really is. She really is. We do catch up over in Whangamata when she buys me lunch sometimes, and sandwiches in the council chambers. It's always good. Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, good morning. So the purpose of this report is to update Council on the steps required to progress the establishment of a community marae and wellbeing hub lot on 101 Lindsay Road, and for Council to consider approval of the SO plan and for the setting apart of lots 1 and 3 as local purpose reserve and lot 2 remaining as council depot. Got any questions?
Thank you, Eileen. With lots of questions. So we'll start with Councillor Connell, Councillor Sinclair, and then Councillor Gary Purcell, please.
Thank you for the report and for the very good work that's gone on in the background for this. And I've read the report and supplementary documents in detail, and I think it's a no-brainer, and I'd kind of like to just move it.
Kia ora, thank you. So Councillor Connell moving. Councillor Sinclair, please.
No, I'm going down a different path. And funding is very difficult to achieve at this point. And I've heard of a lot of groups applying for funding, maybe ticking all the boxes, as Ryan said, maybe not ticking all the boxes and not getting to the funding that they wanted to get. And so I'm just concerned from a council point of view that we have enough in this that should it be very unfortunate all the funding falls over, we're not locked into a position that we have to do something with the land, that we've still got flexibility to sell it, put a reserve on it, put housing on it, whatever we want to do with it, should this not succeed. Because that's always, that was my understanding, that we would have a level of flexibility. And does this maintain that level of flexibility? Should this not proceed?
If I could,
Donna's.
So,
Yes.
Councillor Sinclair has asked a question. I'd like to, let's see if we can get an answer to that question, then we'll carry on. Did you have something?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Len. Through the Mayor, when the lease is developed, we are able to have some clauses in the lease that satisfies any concerns over that. So this item here is mostly about the reserve and the splitting up of the land, so that we can proceed with that. But any concerns or any additional things to do with the lease can come back, and council will have another look. We'll have a look at that lease before it is approved, so we can work with our solicitors and with the trust on the terms of that lease, which can include things like that.
Thank you. Councillor Sinclair, is that answer?
No, yes, because I recognise that, without the lease, they can't proceed with the funding, but I just want to make sure that we are as protected as we can be in the interests of the ratepayers across the whole district.
Thank you. We have Rebecca Gary Purcell, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask the question. It builds on from Robin's, and have you talked about sunset clauses in this stage, or do we need to wait till the next stage? And I asked that from personal experience of what we've seen of handing over some land in Whitianga and developments not at all progressing. So just something to throw into the mix.
Thank you. And my feeling is that that's been answered.
Yeah, so that would be addressed in the lease, in a lease document.
Thank you. Peter, please.
Yes, I have a question, but it's not related to this, whereas your comment might be.
Yes, it is related to this.
Okay.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, so when we discussed this in February, it was a big deal around this council table that there be some sort of time frame on the lease. We had quite a long discussion about it, and I watched the tape just a couple of days ago, and we just dropped the ball a little bit in getting it signalled in that resolution time that we wanted a time frame put on it. And I fully appreciate that this is only dealing with the land, but the next step is the lease, and that will be done at the community board level and then come to us for approval, I believe. I think that's probably a little late in the piece. I actually happen to have written in front of me an amendment, which I'd like to put with this motion, which deals with that specifically. So I accept the motion as it, the option as it is, but I had wanted to firmly signal council's intentions there, and I would like something, a number 5 put there, which is negotiates a lease with whatever the entity's name is, which includes a time frame of 6 years for commencement of the project on site. Now, I picked 6 years. It doesn't have to be 6 years. I think the business case from the marae was for a period of 60 months. This is a little longer than that. I don't want it to be punitive, but for the reasons that Rika was going to started to outline there, it has gone astray on us before when we haven't had those timeframes put in. And I think leaving it until the lease is negotiated is too late in the piece. I would like to see that amendment attached to the one today, the motion today, so that it's firmly signalled.
Thank you, Councillor Morrissey. Aileen.
Not sure if you call this a point of order or not, but I think that this report has not signalled that that's a potential resolution, and therefore advice hasn't been given and parties are not aware that this is a potential resolution from this meeting. So my instant feeling is that this probably falls outside what is available to council to decide today. But if council would like to take a recess and we can just have a quick conference amongst staff just to confirm that that's correct.
I don't very often get pulled up on points of order. I think it's the first time I've ever been done. But anyway, I'm happy for that to happen. I just really, as I said, reviewed that tape from February, and it was definitely supposed to happen then, but we all dropped the ball a little bit, and it didn't. So I do want it dealt with before the lease goes to the community board somehow.
Thank you, Councillor Morrissey. I remember what you referred to, and I think originally there was a very short time frame in there. I find myself very nervous about us trying to do the wording of a resolution on the fly because we've got ourselves into trouble, and I think we need to take a step back and do this in a measured way. Let's hear the rest of the discussion first, and then we might need to take a break or an early morning tea. I've got Terry and then Delhi, please.
Yeah, I thought this was about the land and being the variation of the land today that we've been presented. So I didn't think this is outside that discussion. But in doing so, my comments would be really that the funding models around today and the money required, 6 years is ridiculous. It's more like a 10-year project to me. But anyway, that's beside the point. I think today it's about this land being accepted, the variation and the size of it. And I'd be happy to move that we proceed.
I think we've got a mover already, haven't we? Oh, we do. So,
who moved it?
Aileen.
So a quick conference behind me. I think we're correct that this isn't a resolution that the council can make. But what I suggest is that we make an additional resolution that requests council staff report back to council on the lease before taking it back to the community board, so that the council can address this narrow point of what does that timeline look like.
I'll second you.
Thank you, Councillor Morrissey. Is that?
We might just need to take a few minutes just to draft something. Yep.
Delhi?
So I wanted to go point of order as well, because to my understanding, this is accepting this report, and I don't like the idea of resolutions being made on the fly either, but certainly we can ask for a report, I would understand, to come back to council to talk about the conditions of the lease. But I think what we've got in front of us today is pretty straightforward. I've already moved option 1. I think that's the right way to go. And then if we want to have a look at that lease in the future, let's bring a report to another council meeting.
Thank you, councillor Connell.
I'm happy to second it.
Thank you. So we have a mover and a seconder. All those in favour?
No.
No. Does that need to be separate, or do we move through this and we do that separately?
My apologies for not using the microphone, but we had a suggestion from our chief executive that the lease could come back to council before it went to community board. And is that included in the motion that you're getting us to vote on now, or is it not included?
No, that's a good point.
Because if it is, okay, so it's on the screen in front of us.
We were working through it.
Oh, that
We
was
thought
fast.
it would be included, so
That
we
was
just
Yes.
needed a check to make sure you're happy. You can look down here too if you wish. Yeah.
It's so fancy.
That's lightning speed work, that is. wasn't it, Chris?
Just while people were looking at that. Oh, sorry, were you first?
Okay. So guys, let's just let's let the team work through this first. Nothing's gonna happen, but we'll get to it in a second.
Motion yet.
Okay, I thought I already said
Alright.
yes, but anyway.
So would it be, Lynn, would it be appropriate to just have a 3 or 4 minute adjournment while this?
Not yet. Just hang on 2 seconds. Do you want to take a break? Just go through this. Okay, so look, we will take a break just so that we get this right. Let's take an early morning tea. Thank you, team. And we'll give, and Delhi's made the point, just nobody's happy about it.
Just before we break, can I ask a not related question?
Of course.
Not at all.
What are you able to tell us about the trustees of the trust? Who is the chair and who have been nominated to be on the trust, you know?
So there's 3 trustees. There's Brian is the project manager. There's Peter Priest, Helen McCabe, and Michelle Crook.
Yes.
Just names. Give them, so Ryan's project.
Yeah, so Ryan's project.
So councillor Rebel, Peter, you've met them all. They've all been in and presented, unless you were away. They've all been and presented here as part of the.
Peter Priest, the
It
engineer.
was great. It was a really good presentation.
Yeah.
Did you miss it?
Oh, you might have.
I'm just wondering if somebody could refresh me, please, on who the trustees of the trust are.
So Helen McCabe is with the Whangamatau Recycling and Resource Group. Michelle Crook is with the Eastern Coromandel Community Services. And Peter Priest is marae, just the Whangamatau marae.
Thank you. And Helen's the chair, is that correct? Thank you. I remember.
That helpful? Okay, so we're going to give the team time to put the final bits of this together. We're going to take a break. Are you okay with that? Ryan, we can rustle you up a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, but we'll take a 10-minute break while we just get this right.